Hi, and welcome to the S.J. Child Show. The S.J. Child Show brings value to families through education, resources, and lots of laughs. You can find us on our social media pages Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also find our special children's books at sjchilds.org. This month is April Autism Action Month. All of our guests in April will be autism warriors, and we are celebrating them and bringing this to the forefront. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the S.J. Childs Show. I'm your host, S.J. Childs, and today I have a very talented guest. Paul Lewis, he is an actor, writer, and producer. And I'm probably forgetting plenty of other things, but we'll let him fill you in on those wonderful talents. Thank you so much for being here, Paul.
For having me, SJ. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Something you and I both have a strong vision and motivation mission for is spreading autism awareness. And your film that you just produced, tell us about that and maybe just what started you on this journey?
Sure. It's kind of a long story, but in a nutshell, I'll kind of condense it here for you. So I have a strong background in children's programming. So as you said, I'm an actor and a writer and a producer. In 1995, I created a children's television series called Jelly Bean Jungle. And I was very young. I was 29 years old, and I accidentally sold my rights, but it got produced into a nationally syndicated series. It was on in every household in America. That same year, my daughter was born, Haley Beth. And Haley was eventually at age 7, officially diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. And during the sessions that we had, we would meet with her psychologist and we would go through with the evaluation. And I remember after the psychologist diagnosed her, she looked at me and she said, Mr. Lewis, you have Asperger's as well. So, yeah. And so that kind of explained a lot about me. I think you had said that in your intro that all these other things that I do, I would imagine that's probably due to the fact that maybe I do have Asperger's, because as you know, a lot of people on the spectrum can do a lot of interesting things.
Yeah. High functionable people.
There, but some things are really wonderful. And I guess everything is wonderful depending on how you use it. And so yeah, I always felt a little different from other kids when I was younger. I don't tell people that I do have Asperger's or that I don't have Asperger's. I really don't know. That was her opinion. I was never really diagnosed, but I think I do. Between you and I think I do. But I started to educate myself, obviously, when my daughter was diagnosed. And eventually, I used Jelly Bean Jungle as a way to bring autism awareness out there. So this film, Duddlington the Different, these characters from Jelly Bean Jungle are in that film. And Duddlington is a little elephant on the autism spectrum. And Duddlington is based on my daughter, Haley, and the things that she went through when she was a little girl. So Haley was the kind of kid who, she didn't have many friends at all in school. She was out there with her stories and the funny voices that she would make and her wild imagination. And she would also befriend inanimate objects. For instance, there was a traffic cone in her little schoolyard. She would call him Coney. There was a bike. She would call him Bikey. So I decided to put all of these little traits in the film and show the viewing audience how children on the spectrum can be, and also how to be friends with a child on the spectrum. And also for the child on the spectrum, how to work on their social skills, how to have a proper conversation, how to make friends and keep friends, how to listen, how to look at the person in the eye when you're speaking to them. So I'm very proud of the film. And Haley, by the way, is now an assistant kindergarten teacher.
Oh.
She tells all these wonderful stories to these children.
Wow.
The very things that she was made fun of, she now uses to make a living. And she also is a professional voiceover actor for cartoons. So all those crazy voices she did when she was a little girl, she's now getting paid to do it.
That's incredible, Paul. And, that just goes to show of what support and that you gave her and empowered her to have those. And let me just back up and say the film is absolutely beautiful and touching. And really, I just love how you use those characters to make those expressions known. And okay, the more we see it modeled in our environment, in our children's films and things, the easier it is for these children to be accepting of people that they don't have any knowledge about prior to us educating them.
Yeah, yeah. I think basically what it comes down, what I've always said is that if you want the most loyal friend in the world, be friends with somebody who's on the spectrum.
That
because,
is true.
People on the spectrum are probably the most loyal, definitely the most honest.
Mm-hmm.
Good or bad, they're the most honest.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of her. She wants to say hello at some point.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah, absolutely. And you met my son, DJ. He came in before the recording, but we've kind of, at first it was like, okay, we're doing a recording, stay in the hallway. And, he really wants to come in and be a part of it and see what's going on. And so we're trying to, we've pivoted to, let's embrace it. Let's show real life, because autism doesn't stop for a podcast, not in our household and not in many others, I'm sure. And so we just need to be accepting of all of those. And, him learning when it's okay to come in and out. Of course, those are boundaries that do need to be set, but we can also honor the fact that he wants to be a part of it. And why wouldn't we in the social aspect, right?
And you're absolutely right. It doesn't stop for a podcast. It doesn't stop for anything. We're always teaching our children, and we're always learning. You're always learning. We're both always, every second of the day. Now I'm teaching Haley how to drive. Today we went out for a drive, and and it wasn't easy all the time. She has her little moods. It's a work in progress. But it gets better and better and better. So there is hope out there for any parent out there who feels completely hopeless. There is.
And there's so many of those families that do feel so hopeless. And that's what I'm trying to really bring to the forefront for April in all of these amazing interviews that I'm doing with these autism warriors, because these people are at the forefront. Yes, you're at the forefront of this in society, and trying to bring acceptance and awareness and inclusion for other children. Watching your daughter have the struggles that she did, and the same reason I wrote my children's books, because my children were struggling, and I wanted them to realize and know that they're just like every other child. Every child is different. They all go through different types of struggles. If they can band together and support one another, that's where our world will change.
Yeah. Well, children can be really cruel. Back when my daughter was having these issues in school, she was about, 5, 6 years old. Autism really people didn't know much about autism back then.
Mm-hmm.
She was kicked out of 4 schools, finally settled into a school that completely, embraced her and her unique persona and worked with it. And it was a great school. I'm going to give it a plug. The American Heritage School in Plantation, Florida. They were fantastic. It was expensive, but it was worth every penny.
Good.
Yeah. And so, she had a whole circle of teachers that just, loved her for who she was. We had educators, so-called educators, kick her out of schools and have meetings with us, and they would use words like crazy. They would say, your daughter's crazy.
Unprofessional.
I don't think a teacher in their right mind would say anything like that nowadays.
Yeah.
But it was a different time 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I'd like to kind of touch on that. And the stigma still hasn't, risen completely of autism in girls. And, I'm really going to try to touch on that a lot this month, because well, I'm always going to, but especially because I see now, I've been advocating for my son for the last decade, and I've been looking at it with a boy in all of his behaviors and his needs and support systems. And now I have a little bit more knowledge about what autism might look like in girls. And it's opened up a whole new ball game for a 21-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old daughter. And having been through, as you understand, raising an adult now, we never knew all of those years of struggling through therapy and not understanding and not being able to help her communicate what she needed is now so much more understanding for me and so much more prevalent. She doesn't have an official diagnosis either, but she's brought us the information and said, what do you think about this? And it's led us to think like, yes, let's support you in this, and if that makes sense for you. And so I think that having the idea that girls do have autism, it is overlooked. It is brushed under the rug as ADHD or bipolar. Not that those things don't exist for children, but I think that they are convoluted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Haley joined a wonderful group here in Miami called Social Cog. And what it was a group that I think was sponsored by, I want to say one of the local hospitals. I don't know exactly which ones. I'm not going to be specific here, but it was called Social Cog, and it was a group of adults, young adults with Asperger's or on the spectrum in general. And they would go on outings every week. And they were supervised by therapists, psychologists, parents,
Wow.
and or they go to amusement park, but they would make friends, and it was wonderful for her. And there was a very small amount of females in this group. The majority of them were men, young men. So they were eager to have Haley aboard just to balance it all out. But she made a lot of friends this way. And to this day, she still has those friends. So it's pretty wonderful. And the beauty of that is that it's something that can be done in any community. I mean, you can make your own social cog. It's their name. I don't want to take away their trademark name, but you can make your own social group for our.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And in fact, I actually do run an advocacy group on Facebook, a autism support I can't even say it, autism advocacy support group, where we host both, adults and children with, families with children. But I also love to open the floor up for those autistic adults that want to come in, that want to have chats, they want to begin, know where to start kind of in their social, wanting to just be more social. And I've found I'm so happy with the way that things are turning out and the connections that are being made. And it's just so great to see. And that's a fabulous program to be able to create. Like you said, it can happen in any community.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little organization, a little dedication, Yeah, it's really wonderful. She wants to say hello. Can I just grab her?
Yeah.
Are you able to cut this as I jump out and grab her?
You're fine. Well, this is real life, folks. Here we go.
Sing a song or something while I leave the room.
There we go. Go and check out Duddlington is Different. It is such a sweet film that was produced. And, Paul put his heart into it. It is a great work of art. So please go and check that out. We'll put a link for that film down in the description so you can check it out.
Yeah. The film called Duddlington the Different. It's a 22-minute long musical film, original songs, original characters. And my beautiful daughter, who is entering the room right now, come and sit next to me.
Okay.
And this is Haley. She provides a lot of the voices for the characters in the film.
Hello. Hi, Haley. I'm so honored and so pleased to meet you. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. And you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Even better now.
That's
So do you love being a voiceover?
Yes, it's really fun.
And I love how your dad supported those, unique talents that you had and empowered you to do them for your own success. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure your dad is so proud of you too. I can just tell, right? Just sitting here right next to you, he's so proud of you.
You want to tell us about some of the struggles that you had like as a young girl with Asperger's and how you've been able to overcome some of those or how you're working on some of those things to this day?
I had a hard time socializing with other kids. I was the girl that used to talk to like tricycles
I told her
in the
that.
schoolyard. I still struggle with some things like interrupting other people or going on tangents because of my hyperfixation and not listening.
We all need to learn how to do that better. Don't worry. I love how honest you are about those struggles. And I think it's so special that you are able to express to us and to show us like how with support, with love, and through those bonds of trust and, emotional connection with members of your family or loved ones, all of our children can be successful.
Absolutely. How old are your children? You said you have an older one, and how old is what's your son's name? Age? I'm sorry.
DJ is 11, and I have a daughter who's 9, and she is going to be tested next week.
Okay.
And I believe strongly that she also has Asperger's, as does my husband. And and you and I shared that we're probably not too far off that line either. And
it's really just with the kind of traits that those of us on the spectrum have. I mean, what I mean is, for instance, when I was a kid growing up in New York City, I was interested in things that a lot of kids weren't really doing. I was interested in puppets, and I was interested in doing impressions of old movie stars and things like that. But what was interesting is that the kids that were in my community, we grew up in the projects. It was underserved community. We grew up in the Ravenswood housing projects, and they embraced it. They thought it was so cool. So I was lucky. I was the kid that if you go over my house, you're going to get something that you're not going to get over at the other. In fact, I ran into an old friend of mine in New York about a year ago, and he said, you did some great service to us kids back then. He said, because of you, I know now who Edgar Bergen is. You know who Edgar Bergen
is? Is that a writer?
No, see, Edgar Bergen is a famous ventriloquist from like the 1920s. He started in radio. So,
oh my gosh.
But I was thrilled to hear that, though. I was absolutely thrilled to hear that. So again, it's hit or miss. Some of the things that, some of the knowledge that those of us on the spectrum share with others may be considered really out there, but some of it is really embraced. It just depends.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Oh, DJ came back to visit. You want to say hi this time?
Hi.
Okay, come here. You can say hi. We can even put the headphones on this time and you can say hello. Say hello to Paul and Haley.
Hello, Paul and Haley.
Hello. How are you?
Tell them what are some of your interests that you have right now, DJ?
When is your birthday, Paul?
When is my birthday? My birthday is June 8th.
Haley's birthday?
December 12th.
What about yours?
The 7th of December.
The 7th of December. Okay, so you're a December baby like Haley.
So you're a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Like Haley.
That's right. What kind of things are you into? What is that favorite game that you play right now?
What is that favorite game that you play?
Is it a Nintendo?
Is it a Nintendo?
Yeah, what's your favorite thing to do on a Nintendo? Tamagotchi life?
Yeah, I'd like to play it too.
You want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Talk to you.
Oh,
Sweet.
he's a darling. I can't get enough of him. He's amazing. He really. Have you guys ever heard of this Tamagotchi life game?
I think
Yes,
that, right?
that is an old game. I never got into it, but I know a few of my friends that have gotten into it. I'm more into like Nintendo DS, Pokemon games. I'm into a lot of PlayStation 4 games as well, and I'm obsessed.
Wow. Yeah. You know, what I'm finding this Tamagotchi game is that it is like a life role playing game. So he's learning things that I couldn't teach him. Like, should I give my friend a gift or should I kick him in the knee? And I'm like, okay, those are good choices. Let's talk about these. Like I would have never given him up those choices to do to anyone, but it's great because he's learning to make choices and he's learning through his little characters which choices aren't so great.
It's interesting how a lot of people on the spectrum choose these role-playing games, or like, for instance, if you go to any of these Comic-Cons, we go all the time.
Mhm.
The majority of the people there that you meet are probably on the spectrum,
I would
You know,
say.
but definitely a lot of
I
them.
wouldn't say that it's a role playing game though.
No,
It's
but I mean,
more
when I
of
said
a
you're
taking
dressed,
care of a little creature game.
no, but I'm talking about the convention itself. You're dressed up
Oh.
in costumes, you're role-playing, and
Yes.
walking around as characters,
Yeah.
So-
And do you guys dress up?
Used to role play more than other people, as
Right, some of us
Harley
more
would.
than others.
I love it. I love it. I've never been to one. I worked downtown when they used to have them, and it was so exciting to see everybody coming out of the convention center. But I'm still gonna have to just go to one myself. I've just, my interests have never revolved around anything that goes to Comic-Con.
Son might like it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm always open to learning about new things because just because I don't know about it doesn't mean I won't love it when I do learn about it. So can't hold yourself back with those things, right?
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What are you doing now? Like, what kind of interests are you, if I can even ask this in front of dad, are you dating?
No, I am not interested in seeing anyone romantically at that moment. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just really tired of dating because a lot of the guys that I've dated are dummies.
Yeah, right? You hold out, girl. High expectations.
And about honesty,
Yes. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to get our daughter's little friends to understand is that she was just being honest. I'm sorry, wasn't what you liked it to sound like. Right? Oh, bless their hearts. Yeah, definitely. Wow. I'm so glad that you got to come on, Haley, and talk to us. It's such a fantastic this is going to be such a fantastic interview. I am so glad to meet you guys. What kind of projects are you guys working on? Anything new right now?
I'm looking for more funding to continue this type of series for children and for families. So I want to spread autism awareness via the use of puppetry and music and videos for young children. So Duddlington the Different was funded by the Adobe company that makes Adobe Premiere, the software. I applied for this grant about a year ago, and then about 2 months ago, I got this email saying, "Hey, you got the grant." I was like, wow, I got to even apply for it. So, so I created, but I'm looking for more funding to produce a series of these for children. So I'm thinking of calling it the Mighty Me series.
Oh, I like that.
And Duddlington, the elephant in the Duddlington the Different story, has a superhero character that he created called Mighty Man. So the Mighty Me series will be a similar set of videos for children and their families on autism awareness.
I love that. Well, if you need any ideas, being a writer, I have lots of characters back there too. And I have some different, I have a book, I have 2 books about autism. One on dyslexia, Down syndrome, anxiety, and physical differences. So I was trying to cover kind of a whole range of things to inspire children to learn and support their peers.
Wonderful. Are they published?
Yes, they are. They're published on Amazon, self-published, and yeah, it was fantastic. In fact, out of that, my little 9-year-old, when she was 8, published her own book. She illustrated this entire book herself, and it
Oh,
is just so cute. And she's a great little artist for, like I guess like you could only compare yourself to yourself, really, but I was never a good artist. And so to watch her do these, I'm like, that's amazing. So the same for you. I'm just encouraging it,
well,
watching them grow.
these talents that they
Exactly.
there was one teacher that you had, Miss Van Hazen. Do you remember her? I remember her saying,
love her.
I remember Haley had written some kind of incredible story. And how old were you? Like 6 years old, 7 years old or something? In that grade?
No, I was younger.
Younger. Okay. But I remember her saying to us, I cannot ignore this talent that your daughter has, And I love that. I love that, just like build up on their strength,
I know
Yes.
that there's a kid, like in the online learning and stuff at my school that they have autism and stuff. And basically, when he draws in the morning on his journal for the journal time, when he shows us his drawings, it does not look like a 4 or 5-year-old drew it. It looks like a 10-year-old drew it. Like it's amazing.
Wow.
Like he could draw a tiger, a monkey. It's amazing.
How do you feel now being a teacher, giving back basically to that same, education department, kind of giving back to maybe how they took care of you and maybe improving upon what they can do better?
makes me feel really proud. It makes me feel happy, just to be able to have patience, and even recognize kids that probably have disabilities in my own classroom as well. Like not just online, there's actually a kid also in my classroom as well who might be a nonverbal, maybe a student with nonverbal autism,
Mm-hmm. Do you think that they have an easier time relating to you?
So I think so.
Children gravitate
the-
towards you. Little children
yeah.
gravitate towards you. They love you.
The one with nonverbal autism, though, I think it keeps calling my coworker's name because I think he associates that with teacher. But that's okay, because sometimes he does look at me and say my coworker's name and stuff, So he's learning to talk little by little.
I love
think-
that.
Open apples for him and stuff. He goes, "Teacher, open," and stuff to me.
It's those wonderful building blocks that we see that start forming, that start pivoting our lives in our children's lives in these amazing ways. I remember my son was nonverbal until he was 4. And his little sister was 2, and she was the talk of the town. So, she was just all over the place. But it didn't take away from the fact that he expressed how he was feeling. He showed us what he needed. He was reading at 1 and writing at 2. So from 2 to 4, we were writing back and forth. And that made it easier for us to communicate with one another. It was very different, to be communicating with him in that form so early on. But it also led to us embracing that when we learned he had a photographic memory, like I think I kind of went crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, let's learn everything under the sun.
Interesting. I often say that, I wish there was some kind of occupation that, paid really good money for people who could remember very obscure things, useless information, because if that was the case, I'd be a millionaire by now.
You and DJ with the birthdays, you already know that now.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I can remember, lyrics to the theme song lyrics to a television series that maybe aired only 1 week and went off the air after that week when I was 5 years old, but I can't remember that my wife just told me to take the garbage out 5 minutes ago.
Functional behavior is different than our memories, right?
What were you going to say?
Does he remember every birthday that he hears?
Everything. He has a auditory and photographic. I don't know where it slipped my mind there. Yeah. So we realized, because he would come home and, like I said, he still wasn't talking. He would come home and write down license plate numbers or street names or the names of stores. Oh, I remember him writing down, "Oh, thank heaven, 7-Eleven," or Ross Dress for Less. Go, okay. Yeah, he was only 3 and he was recreating like seating charts at his school. He'd put a little table and then he'd put everybody's name that sat in those little chairs around. And not to mention, this was happening on our walls.
Wow.
Wow.
But
so does he see like solutions to things, to problems? Is he able to figure out solutions?
well, and yes, absolutely. I don't think that he's at the communication level that I could pose a problem for him and he could solve it necessarily, unless it was math, of course, and then that's no problem at all. But like, if I ask, like small things he could do. But for example, he got really into video editing for a while when he was like 8 or 9. And so he found this program, AVS Video Editor, and the software was like $400. But we got this deal where we finally were like, okay, we're getting this for him because he's showing such an interest in doing this. And so now we have this great video editing, now we're using it for our own experiences. But when we started, he wouldn't show us how to use it. Like, he's not interested in being part of the, part of the solution, if you will. He just uses it for his own interests, basically.
Maybe he'll be your producer one day.
Yeah. Producer, linguist. I think he's memorized 25 plus languages. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Like you said, we're learning every day. This mom, yeah, I secretly have a master's already. So going for that PhD.
Right. Hold on 1 second. I'm low on power. Let me just make sure that, there we go.
Would you say secretive about what he writes down, or at it? Because I know that there was a kid I met that used to write like maps to everyone that he like would see and stuff like that, but he didn't want me to see what he was writing.
So often that is the case. So often, we are lucky. Sometimes he'll show us like that he can write 65 numbers of pi, and we'll kind of come up on it. I'll take a picture of it. Then, haha, I got it. Right. Or, I think when he was like 3, he wrote supercalifragilisticexpialidocious up on the whiteboard. And of course, his preschool teachers are just lying on the floor with their mouths open. They just have no idea even how to comprehend how he could have put those letters together. But yeah, it's been incredible. Just a character.
That's the beauty of having a child like that, because of all of these strengths. What's going to happen in the future?
Yeah.
He's going to probably excel in something related to that. He'll maybe find a way to utilize those talents and make a great living at it. It's just a really wonderful thing to think about. I think that's what parents need to do for their children, is they need to nurture their talents and be more positive about the future. I know sometimes it feels hopeless.
Yeah.
It's not an easy ride at all. We're fooling ourselves if we say it is.
Yeah.
But there is hope. And again, it's just a question of nurturing our children, playing on their strengths, and rewarding them for their strengths.
Yeah. And really, though, the confidence that they build when you reward and accept and push them into their strengths is just incredible. Incredible. Haley, it was such an honor to meet you and a pleasure. I hope that we can stay in touch and I can check to see how you're doing and keep up with all of
Facebook friend.
yeah, absolutely. Keep up with all of your dad's fun, exciting stuff. And I'd love to invite you both to my advocacy group if you're not part of it already on Facebook. And it's a small, growing community, but it is amazing. And I love the connections that I'm able to make myself, but bring people together and bring family those resources that are so hard for some to find, but seem to come so easily for me to attain. So I hope to share that. Thank you guys both so much for being here today.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much. Do you mind if I give a little plug for our YouTube channel?
That's what I was coming to next. Please do it.
So as I mentioned, Jelly Bean Jungle, which was part of the Duddlington the Different series, was a series in the 90s. All of those episodes are now on a YouTube channel called Jelly Bean Kids TV. Okay, so if you go Jelly Bean Kids TV, youtube.com/Jelly Bean Kids TV, you'll see all the videos of Jelly Bean Jungle.
Fantastic. And I'll have all those links down in the description so that you can check out all of the amazing work that Paul does and the amazing, life that it's based on in Haley.
Yeah. Come on,
Thank you too. It was such a pleasure to meet you both. And I wish I could just hug you through the screen. So high five from Utah, if anything else, right? Air hugs for sure. Thank you guys so much. We'll be in touch, okay?
Righty, you take care.
Bye.
Kind of guy that keeps you warm at night when you are cold. I'll grab some blankets from my bed, wrap them around your chest, and I'll pull you close. We'll flip some channels to find out there's nothing on right now to ease your mind. Sit back, relax, there is no rush, no need to speed things up. All we have is time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. The kind of love that we've been dreaming of when we sleep at night. We'll get a little house to live in, have a couple kids, and we'll sleep tight. 'Cause baby, all we really need are just a couple things to stay alive, and everything else in between. Just trust my heart, you'll see. We're slowly coming. Time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes as spring goes, forever you will know that I love you. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes and spring goes, forever you will know that I love you.